Hi guys, we'll do an update here on the Aussie dollar for the polling we did today. Now, so not much has changed here since the last time we looked at this, and we've been through it a couple of times here. Still working on the idea that we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 may well be in here in this. As we rip down here, we're looking for the 5. It's not an unreasonable target. Now, looks like the extension is here in the 5. Now this time I'm on a daily chart here, so even if we go to the 4-hour. Which I want to just take the opportunity to just can I do it in the 4-hour? Re-emphasize my strong advice to work, if you're trading in FX, work 4 hours and above. And if you had to go down to a lower count, you're doing it just to clarify whether or not you've got the subdivision you're looking for. But in terms of where you're looking for trades and where you're doing your analysis, I just, guys, after doing this I've been trading FX a long time. This noise in here is, you'll just get eaten alive. You got to wait for these larger trends to show themselves. So this is a little tricky in here. It's not the ideal. You'd have hoped for more in the 5th here to give you the textbook diagonal. You'd want the 5 a little bit longer, but we don't get it. So the question is the 3 here? I think it may be. So you'd want that 5. That would have been ideal, but considering what followed, so we don't get ideal. But I don't see another way to count that would be reasonable. Right? You maybe come up with something crazy. It looks like A, B, C, like we have a flat here, which is a little weird in a diagonal. But otherwise, I suppose you could do it. You could have it here, A, B, C. You could have it. You don't get a lot there, but that looks like that could very well. You could have your 1, 2. Actually, looks like 3, 4, 5. It did rush it. Does it matter now? Just for the sake of the education, this could be interpreted a couple of different ways. So whether you're putting it here, see the problem here is then you've got to go A, B, C. Well, that can still work. Here so you'd go 1 to A, B, C is how you'd have to do it. It's not textbook, right? And the fact that we essentially double top here, well, you probably interpret that as a sign of weakness, right? So if we just tee some of these up, we're just looking for pivots here. How technical were we? God damn, look at that. That's to the tick. So I'd pull over here and see, did we continue on there? Did we get anything else here? This give us, well, back to back, right? That's why every chart I'm drawing up, I'm always looking for that. Can I find it? So now that would have been very hard to know, right? So how would you have known to sell there, right? But then you look and you think, okay, well, maybe I didn't get the absolute turn. Golden zone to the tick. Right, so that's often you'll see me guys say, well, you don't need to pick the turn, wait for the first retrace. They don't. How's that? Am I right on that? Let's get on that. Right on that. It's just a 1 tick front run from the golden zone, and of course, right, boom, they get it. So right, if you didn't get this here, you had a second chance at it, and then if I carry this down, I'm going to guess here that probably played as well. So remember, this is one that they like. This you'll see the algos respond here a lot when you get that 3-wave structure, that 50, the follows. So the first time down, you don't have anything. You don't have the 3-wave. So when you're looking at that, so you're thinking about this pivot. So two ways to look at it. One is to think, oh, well, it's here, right? Well, you break here. So even if you took that here and you had a tight stop on that, you didn't get hurt too badly. You got to immediately pull back. Right? This is just from years of screen time. I just know that's one they like, right? And that's the one that takes it all the way to second target. So with that in, so what do we have here? Where could we be in this? So what, a 4-hour? Let's see. Well, if that's our 5, shit, I may not be able to do this in a 4. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So and then here, there's this. This. What do you do with that? Right? It's almost like a flash crash. Right? Shit, it probably was. So somebody got their stop filled there, which is you feel sorry for someone who had to deal with that, but that's shit happens, right? So coming where maybe you get come here. It's like 1, 2. 3, 4. Are we still going down? Well, interestingly, even despite that, look at that. It's not a coincidence. Promise you guys. Promise. So then you look at it and say, well, what else is there? So what do we run into? Are we just running into the golden zone, or is it the pivot here to keep it as a impulse? Hard to know. So here we come from that. Now is this shit? You know, what do you do with that? You can't ignore it. But it's just one. Well, it's a 4 hour. Let me see, just out of curiosity, on the 15-minute. It really is a flash crash. So something misfired there. I mean, shit, somebody got filled there. So there was trading along the way. Guaranteed that's just stops getting filled. And the slippage is obscene, right? So that's a bummer. So let's go back out here. Let's go, let's try the 2 hour, see if I can get it here. Well, 3, 4. So could we be done? This kind of screws you up. So if you look at the body of the waves here, yeah, it's problematic, right? So how do you deal with that? It doesn't. Well, let me back up. Let me go out to a 4. So could we be done? Shit, I can't do it in a 4. I got to go daily. Well, now so you'd be counting on the 5 being done here with this, right, which gave us the new low on this, whatever the hell that problem was. This, well, I'm going to call it a baby flash crash. Oh, this I thought was worth noting. This is something you'll see is very, very common, right? One to look for. So you see this nice trend line here. Once a trend line breaks, very commonly you'll see it pull back to test the other side of it, and then that's when we start down. So it's really, there's no Elliott to it. It's just a tendency you'll see in the market. So that trend line was holding from 16 and it broke in 18. So that's a 2-year trend line. So when that breaks, the retest, very, very common. In fact, a trade to look for. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Could we be done? Well, if you think about where the 3 is and the 4, my guess is not done. But you might have the start of it. So even if you have to allow for that, and we're going to retrace it, well, of course, you already know what I'm going to say here. So we're coming right. Well, here's the wave 1. Coming back to the 50 would be a reasonable spot. So if that's going to trade as a 1, and we're going back for the 2, you got to think lower prices are still to come. All right, so if we're going to get a real, shit, never fails. Okay, so if we're going to get a real, let's get that in another color. Now that'll work. Let's go up 1. 1, 2. So maybe that's just the AB. So I'd be looking over here. Now remember, I'm on a daily chart, so this could take a while. If that's just the start on the A, and we're going to go A, B, C, then head down. It certainly doesn't look, the symmetry doesn't play for this to be the 5. Now again, we'll remind you, is it possible? Well, of course it's possible. But does that look like it's done? I would not want to be diving into, well, let's draw it. 1, 2, 3, 4, double bottom. I mean, it's possible. All right, the 1 and the 4 look pretty close. Just out of curiosity, let's check that. So length of the 1 projected from the 4. At least, well, so look, that's nice confluence here. So you'd have the length of the 1 at the 4 and the algo target here. Should we come up here and bump into the 5618? But even still, right, it just doesn't look like it's done, right? So a more common target would be down here. So if you're going to get the 3, the 4, I know you start mapping this out. I feel you already thinking, come on, man, we're not going down that low. The Aussie's not going that low. Couldn't possibly do that. Well, jeez, I can't even do it I got to go to a 3-day. We've been here before. Last time I was here, 2008. As soon as you start hear yourself thinking, shit, we can't go that low. I would tell you that that almost blesses that, that we're going that low. So, I mean, even down here, if you just, when was that? God, that was in 2008. So this would be a 10-year round trip. Right? Not uncommon in FX. Now, could we go below that? Boy, the count, right, would certainly offer that up. That's a possibility. If we're just doing the 1-2, that's certainly, you can't rule it out. Can't rule it out. So would that, what would that, so that would be taking the, let's look here. That would be taken from the 4. Well, here's the 1-6-1-8 for the 5 relative to the 1. That's pretty heavy. So we may not have all that in it. You might have something like this. Maybe we finish up with a diagonal. So you got something like that coming down. But this is, yeah, it's possible. But this, more likely, there's more to come to resolve all of that. This, you know, so taking out that low, well, of course, you just wick it off, right? So we're not that far from it. What do we hit the low here? 67, and this is 60. Yeah, right. In FX terms, that's a monster move. But you know, look where we came from. 110. It's a long way down. So I think the trade opportunity here is right there. Right, so that looks like if this is going to come up, we're going to get into that prime zone. For if this is a 1, we're going into that zone for the 2. All right, so this little pivot here, so the sell at the 50. So maybe you take a partial there with looking to add if you get into the closer to the golden zone. Looking if there's anything else here. So you got a very old pivot here. So that's not an unreasonable spot to put your stop just on the other side of that. If we're going to come up here, so I go back to the 4-hour. If we're going to come up here and get into this zone, so this would be a reasonable spot to start looking right here. So I maybe a bite size here, looking to add on that spread. Now, granted, I'm on a 4-hour chart, so that's a big move. So that's the individual trader's choice as to whether you want to withstand that kind of heat. But you think if it goes there, then I'd have a split fill, so that you'd cut it in half. So if your entry is here, you're adding here, stops just on the other side of that, you end up with a split fill. So if that's going to go down, challenge that low. There's plenty, right? You can just visually look at that. So that's 5-1. All right. If you're out here and your average is here, well, let's do it. Short. Let's split the difference. Get just on the other side of that. How about just to challenge the low? There's 5-1. Break the low. Algo target and that 100. Let's split that difference. Oh, now you got 7-1. 7-1 with a decent sized trade on in the FX market. Make your year right there. All right, guys, that's all I got for now. I think we're trying to squeeze one more in as you guys were asking for a look at Netflix. All right, guys, back to you in a sec.